This video is a continuation of my playthrough of Axis Empires, and we are now starting the winter of 1943. So we'll begin on the European map, and it is November, December of 1943. And the Axis strategy that's revealed is production directive jet fighters. So basically Germany is deploying 4 infantry corps to the map with this card during the replacement segment, and Germany is able to build 4 infantry corps, and then they roll on the table and they are successful in the production program, so an interceptor is placed in the delay box. And this card also has a historical quote from Hitler where he alleged masses of jet fighters will soon drive the British and American flyers from the skies. Then Britain will collapse. Well, of course, we know that didn't happen. But that's pretty much all that the Axis does during that part of the turn. Then we go to the Western Allies. They reveal the Eureka Conference. So in this, we now have Churchill, Roosevelt, and Stalin meeting in Tehran. So this card allows the Allies to send a carrier to the Pacific Theater, and then the Western Allies production marker is flipped to its +2 side. Also, the U.S. 12th and 15th Air Force units are put in the delay box, along with the 8th Bomber Unit. Then the British add armor and infantry units directly to the map, and the United States deploys 2 infantry and 2 armor units to the map. And then finally the Americans add 1 armored unit. This card has a political die roll, so the conference table results in neutrals pressured. So this causes Iraq to lose its free passage marker. So that's a little bit of progress. During the turn, the Allies bring more troops into Italy. I'm sorry that I don't have a picture of the map for this part of the turn. We then go to the Soviet Union strategy, and they play the Bagration reserves formed. So this allows the Soviet minor countries' production to be shifted to the +2, and then the 1st and 2nd Guards Tank Armies and the 2nd Belarusian Air Force are put in the delay box to be built later. Then the 1st Belarusian Army reduces the German strength in Rostov in an attack. And you can see in the picture here, I have you see the German South headquarters there in Rostov, and they are fairly close to being done. Anyway, that is going to bring the November-December part of the turn in Europe to an end. So we're going to go over to the Pacific map. The situation in the Pacific is that the Japanese still have 2 victory points. So they reveal their next strategy, and it is materiel shortages. So Tojo asks the Japanese people to make greater sacrifices, and he creates the Greater Asia Ministry. And then this card allows rolling on a political events table, but the result is conflicting plans. Then the Japanese commander moves troops out of Malaya and toward the home islands. And again, I apologize that I don't have a picture for this. The Allies then reveal their strategy. It's the Sextant Conference. So here we have President Roosevelt and Winston Churchill and Chiang are all meeting in Cairo for their strategy conference. And this allows the Allies to roll on a political table. They get the result of strategy board, which results in military aid. Then the Allies and the Japanese engage in some naval battles near the Marshall Islands. I don't have a picture for this again, and I apologize for that. The Commonwealth forces move through Indochina, but there's no land combat. And then we go to the Soviet part of the turn. They are continuing to be idle and go with border defense for a second time in a row. That brings the year 1943 to a close, but the winter continues in January and February of 1944. So we're going to begin that by going back to the European map. So the Axis strategy was jet fighter production, and they roll on that table and they have success again. So another production chit goes into the delay box. And then the German infantry forces in Italy counterattack the Allies at Cassino. And here we see the part of the 6th Army, which is reduced, occupying Cassino, and we see some of the Allied units are deployed there in Naples. The Western Allies roll on their table, and they get the conference table, which takes them to military aid. So that's going to allow them to reduce the delay period on their strategic bombers, in this case the 8th Air Force. Also, the U.S. Armored Forces clear out the German infantry from Taranto, and then it moves in to support the flank at Naples. So I have a picture here showing Italy with the German presence in Cassino, but we're starting to see some Allied support as well as the 15th in Naples. Finally, the Soviets launch another attack on Rostov, again severely damaging the South headquarters position. And then another attack is launched near Kharkov, which forces the German infantry to fall back. And then the Soviets add 4 infantry corps and a tank corps as replacements during the conditional event segment. And that brings the European part of January, February of 1944 to a close. So we're going to finish out this turn by going over to the Dicenso map and look at the Pacific Theater. So the Axis player is still using the material shortages, which is primarily a political card, so they roll on the political event table and receive a command failure result. Then the Japanese commander moves a unit back from the islands back into Japan proper. The Allies are also using a conference card, so they're consulting the strategy table, which results in military aid. And then the Allies launch an attack against the Japanese position in Saigon. And I have this depicted in the picture here, but it results in an exchange. Then the Nationalist Chinese attack the Japanese positions in Kiangsu, and this attack is repulsed, and the Chinese attacking force falls back. Then in the Pacific, the U.S. 3rd Marine leads an attack against the Japanese at the island of Eniwetok, and the Japanese Navy isn't available this time to contest the beachhead. So this allows the U.S. forces to succeed in landing and destroying the fortress there. You can see that this was kind of a hopeless defense for the Japanese by looking at this picture. And then we go to the Soviet Union, and they are using border defense policy, and there's just no actions for them at this point. And that brings February of 1944 to a close, and we're going to be going into the spring turn of 1944. So if you would like to see what happens, stay tuned for the next video. Have a great day.